Hello, everybody. I'm Adam, the Dabbling Warlock, and today we are going to be doing day 20 of the Learn to Draw in 30 Days challenge. And today, we will be drawing a garage. Sorry for the terrible French accent. We're going to be drawing a garage or a house. So the exercise today is to draw a simplified house or garage with um, with the hole going through it, or probably be more accurate to say with where you can actually see inside. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the basic structure of our garage. And we're going to start off with a simple box, like we normally do. Let's see. See if we can actually get the... Yeah, there we go. Made that one a little too long. And then... get a nice... keep trying to swoop it down, but yeah, it's okay. This is mostly just getting a framework in place. Okay, so we got that, and we're just going to try to match that angle like that, and then just okay. So now we have our box. One of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing the the back side of this, and I think I can do this without too much difficulty. I'm just going to make these lines a little thicker, so make my job a little bit easier when we get around to drawing the back side. So we're going to start with this back corner, and we're just going to lightly draw the vertical, and that's probably far longer than it needs to be, but that is okay because that's going to help us place that line and that line, although I think I can do a little bit better. Nope. Not quite. Okay, let's try this. Okay, there we go. All I need to do was adjust how I was holding the stylus. Okay, so this is our basic structure, and these fainter lines here are lines that we don't actually see, but they're going to help us out in placing some features in just a moment. So first off, we're going to draw the sides of the opening, or draw where the opening's going to go. Maybe a little closer. Yeah, it's not exactly centered. There we go. That's better, I think. Okay. So there's our opening. And now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a figure out where our back plane's going to be. So I think right there is good. So we're going to draw a line. We're going to try and draw a line that's parallel to this one, and then we'll just draw the vertical there and draw where we can see the back wall there, and we can go ahead and just get rid of that, and we can go ahead and clean some of this up because now we don't need it anymore. And I'm aware I could be using layers and things like that to make my life easier, but the idea is to try and make this as easy to for people to get to as possible. So just so I'm not using layers. I'm not using any of the tools that are available in the software. What I am doing is so what I'm doing is I'm acting more like I'm using pen and paper, or pencil and paper rather. So I'm not so I'm erasing stuff instead of that was dumb. Okay. Sorry, I was taking care of something and I thought I could do something that apparently I couldn't without getting feedback. So here we go. We're just gonna erase this right here and clean it up a little bit. Okay, so we can go ahead and erase this line too, because technically we don't need it, but alright, so there we go, and we'll go ahead and we'll save the shading for later. Alright, so that's our so that's the basic structure of our garage. Sorry, I apparently have got too many trains of thoughts going on, or not able to keep up with stuff. Okay, so here's our basic structure of our garage. Could probably don't need it. Probably don't need to worry about it. Actually, yeah, I don't think that's. Yeah, that's more vertical. So we can go ahead and get rid of that. And then we got our line going like that and our vertical going like that. Okay, there we go. That cleaned up things a little bit. Alright, so we've got that. Next, what we want to do is we want to add some more details to this. So let's go ahead and start with the roof, because that's probably going to be the trickiest thing to add. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line extending out like this. Where we're going to extend out like the top lines of this, like so. And I'm not really shooting for drawing this in like actual perspective. I'm going more for, what am I calling? I'm trying to get these things parallel. Because honestly, trying to draw this in perspective is gonna just drive me insane. Okay, so The reason I did this is we're trying to establish a plane because the roof has got to be on top of this, so it's got to look like it's sitting on top of this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to draw let's see, maybe not that. Okay, so maybe not like that. I don't want this. I just realized I may have created a problem for myself. So let's see. Okay, that'll help a little bit. So we want to try and keep this even on all sides as much as we can, and one of the things I'm trying to avoid is I'm trying to basically avoid doing something like this. So let's say that's the vertical. This is the corner of our roof. And then we got our house underneath, and then the vertical is just like going like that. That looks weird. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen. So we want something more like that or more like that. So we don't want these two lines to be basically coinciding. So that's the reason I did the diagonals real quick, was to see if I could do that and still have it look good. So, actually, let's see. I want this to be parallel. All right, there we go. And then we're just gonna that. And we don't need to worry about the back corners, because what we can do now is we can draw this. And yeah, I think that's a good height. So we'll just try and keep this parallel. Let's draw across here. And I'm not really worried about these lines being tangent, because you're not actually going to be able to see this. So if I do a little bit of cleanup work, you might be able to see a little bit. It'll look alright when it's cleaned up, so I'm not really worried about that one. I'm more worried about the lines that you can see being basically converging like that. Alright, there we go. Let's go and clean this up a little bit as we go. Alright, now here comes the tricky part. Or, I guess not really tricky. Actually, I don't think that, yeah. Don't think that's quite parallel. There we go, that's better. Alright, so if we just erase some of this. There we go. See? See, it looks good. See, looks, well, I mean, it doesn't look really good, but it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look like that. So, so, yay. Yeah, so we got that. All right, so now we're gonna add some details. We can add them inside the garage, but I think I'm gonna stick to outside the garage. So first detail we're gonna add is just gonna be this bit that's coming out here, and I'm just gonna draw where it attaches, and then I'm gonna have some fun with it. Alright, so I'm gonna have some fun with it. And just try and make that a little bit circular. So what we're gonna do is then we're gonna draw, sketch in the vertical, and then where these lines go, and then we'll just draw in that vertical. And we'll just get these lines yeah, I think I'm gonna have to redo that a little bit, but what we can do in the meantime is just alright, so we got that, and we're just gonna add another shape here. Actually, that's okay, so we're gonna add another shape here. Like that. And what we're going to do with this one is we're going to cut this corner off. And I just wanted to make sure I had everything looking all right before I did it. So yeah, I think this one's going tangent too, but that's okay because we're going to have a break here. So it doesn't matter as much. And then we can just draw the lines like this. And then clean this up a little bit. And I need to stop holding this thing in a death grip. I'm starting to hurt my wrist. Okay. Okay, so we got those things. Now, one more thing I want to do is I'm just going to add a little detail to the roof. So we're going to add, or do I want to do that? I Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to call this good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and shade it. So we're going to assume that the sunlight is coming this way. So it's coming down at this angle. So this part is going to be hit by sunlight. This part is going to be in shadow. But the other consequence of that is we're also going to have... you know what? Maybe I should have kept that line. Those lines where I constructed this. So one of the things we can kind of guesstimate is that this is actually going to have a little bit of a... Yeah, definitely should have kept those lines. I think I still know where they are. So... yeah, I think... yeah, so we got this line. So right about here and right about here is where they were hitting. So that's going to be in shadow. Which actually means that all that's going to be in shadow. Yeah. So yeah, so we can go ahead and erase that because... alright, so all this is going to be in shadow. Alright, so here's the tricky bit. So. Actually, no, that's not going to be that tricky. Okay. Okay, so... I actually think this may be about the same... yeah, I think that may be the same width, so... alright, so we got our shadow lines. So we can go ahead and carefully erase some of that. We're going to put that back in. We're going to put that back in. Alright, so this whole thing is going to be in shadow. So yeah. Okay, so all that's in shadow. And we're just going to very quickly just try and shade this. You know, this would probably be a lot easier if I used one of those, like, sliding rulers. Oh, well. Alright, so yeah, we got that. Let's just go ahead and find that corner a little bit more. Stand out, and then probably want to make this line a little bit thicker. Just to help emphasize that these lines are in the foreground. Yeah, so there we go. There's our garage with shading. And only took us managed to get it done in 30 minutes. So yeah, this one took a little bit longer, but we're starting to apply concepts that we learned in earlier exercises. So like so this involves like the exercise where we're stacking different shapes on top of each other, and it also involves the exercise where we were punching a hole through something. I can't remember which days those were, and we also have and here I also included like the exercise where we had where we were cutting corners off of a block. So, just realized I forgot some of the shading. So yeah, probably a good idea to always also double check and make sure that you actually got everything. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this one. I hope you'll join me for well, before I sign off, first off, hey, if you made it this far, congrats. You are 2/3 of the way through. You only got 10 more of these to do. And they are going to get more complicated, more complex. But at the same time, it's also going to show you how far you've actually come since you started. Like I've said, I've noticed a huge, well, maybe not huge, but I have noticed an improvement as I've done these. With how with some of my skills, and like I said, I've taken art classes in college. I have a minor in digital art. So you may be saying, yeah, well, you've taken classes for. I also haven't drawn on the regular in years. I graduated college 13 years ago. Almost exactly 13 years ago. This December will be 13 years since I graduated college. And I hadn't taken an art class. I didn't take an art class my entire the last 3 semesters I was in college. And I haven't really been drawing on the regular since then. I mean, you can look at things on my Twitter. You can see where I've drawn before or tried to do things like this before, but it's not on a regular basis, and I wasn't really studying. I wasn't really trying to improve. It was more just trying to get back into the habit of it. Here I am getting better. I am noticing an improvement. So yeah, don't. And here's the other thing: if you're doing this along with me, and you notice that, and you're not able to match what I can do, don't worry about it. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to me anyway. I'm just here to mainly what my goal with this was to help people understand what the exercises, how, like, do the exercises along with people. So if you're sitting there and your stuff isn't looking as good as mine, which I admit, like I said, I don't think mine looks that great. But if you're sitting there comparing yourself to me, don't do that. The person you should be comparing yourself to is the person from yesterday or the person from day one. So, actually, yes, I do want to state the changes. So, like, let me just pull this up real quick. This is what my stuff looked like on day one. This is day 3. Let's see, where's a good one? This is day 10. This was a third of the way through this challenge. And this was today. Admit, yeah, lines are a mess. There's a lot I can do to improve. I understand that. But also, I feel good about the progress I've made. I feel like I am making progress. And that's what you should be focusing on. Don't focus on if your skills are at the same level as somebody else's. That's the wrong way to look at this. Look at it as, are your skills better than what they were yesterday, what they were a week ago, what they were a month ago? So I'll put that little bit of encouragement. You'll join me for day 21. And yeah. Yep, same time as or no, actually I'm gonna have to do this one earlier because we got things planned. I got plans tomorrow evening, so we're gonna be doing day 21 at 5:30 tomorrow evening, and I hope you'll join me there. This is the Dabbling Warlock signing off.